saying, I want to take theirs and have it. You're saying, I want that for me. And that's very different energy. It's like, oh, there's something in me that says, yes, please. Because we are unaware of the power that we have. And that power is the power that has created everything. Like everything that we are living in now, the same life force is in you.
What excites me about meeting with people like you is that you are so, I love people because we are all so individual.
Welcome. I thought, no training is really complete without talking about money, it seems, in this society that we live in. I think money is such a huge topic, and, we all sit at various stages of wealth or lack thereof at various times in our life. And it's been such a freeing tool to have to understand money and how do we incorporate it into our thought world and create the life that we love without having it, because it can be a topic that hijacks people the most, I find. There's nothing more fearful, at least I certainly have experienced that, where you know what you want, you're ready to act, you're full of beans, and then you look and think, oh, I don't have the money, and that can stop us dead in our tracks. The fear of the poverty that we might face, and it looms large. And so take some notes as we go, and let's have a bit of a discussion around this. The first question I put down here is, what is money? Like, what is money? And it's an exchange. It's a currency of exchange. If it was rose petals, or as it used to be, beads or sheep or anything like that, if that was the currency exchange, that's what we'd be talking about. And I was listening to some material not long ago where they were saying, it just got too hard to carry around that many sheep with you. Can you imagine going to the grocery store with a truckload of sheep? It gets pretty messy. And so, of course, as society changed, we started looking at different ways of exchange. And what we currently have is, a lot of electronic exchange now, numbers, and still notes and coins. So money is a currency of exchange, and it's represented by what it buys. That's the interesting thing, isn't it? Because money alone, if we all had just a room full of money, that in itself isn't anything that we can use. We're going to exchange that for the things that we desire. So get very clear on the fact money itself is not the thing to be focused on. It's, what am I exchanging it for? So we're getting back to what we've talked about all of last week. What do I want? So money is represented by what it buys. Do you ever think about what you have in your house, things that you wear, your car, things that you have in your life that you bought with money? Do you ever look at the things you have already and say, yeah, I bought that, I have that, and feel really grateful for them? I don't know about you, but I know as I began in my adult life, I was only too aware of what I didn't have and how out of reach it seemed. But I want us to take stock right at the beginning of this, and you might even list a few things and capture how you feel about those things. I know I've got some things, probably not so much now, but I had some things that I bought that I didn't really even want. You know, you buy this thing and then you find it in a cupboard years later and you think, why on earth did I buy this? Like it doesn't resonate with you. It's a bit of surplus, really. So look at what you already have that money's bought and how you feel about it. It's very important to free up our energy. Life is circulation. Everything is about circulation. The tubes in our body, you know, the blood circulates, the air circulates. We want money to circulate. And so think about the circulation of money in your life. You receive money and you use money to buy things that you want. The life in us is abundant. That we have established. And we're either cooperating with the flow of that or we're blocking it and resisting the expression. So we've talked about the life in us and expressing that. And money is the same. We want it to flow. We want to use it as an expression. So yes, it's a currency of exchange. What are you looking to express with this tool called money, this exchange of money? Our thought is the first cause. We can think something, it causes us to feel a certain way, and we act. And in that beingness of feeling and acting, we're also attracting. Okay, so just have that there. Be aware that that's how this all works. And it's no different when it comes to money. We attract people, circumstances, events, all the resources that we require to match the state that we're in. So let's now think like that using money. What do I think about money? And all the things that, you know, is represented by money in my life now, and the things that I am saying I would like in my life. How do I think about that? Like, what do I think about money in my life? And like I said, the things we look at, you know, I've got some beautiful things that I had the opportunity to buy, and I look at them and they light me up. Things that just bring me joy. And there are other things, I will admit, that you lose sight of how fortunate we are to have them. You don't have to look too far to think, yeah, actually, we do live in the top % of the world of wealth. So think about what you think about money, like become aware of that. And I really want you to go deep with that. Like, how do you think about money? When you get a bill in the mail to pay your electricity, what do you think? Oh, God, it's gone up again. Far out. Like now I'm going to have to. Or do you think, I am so grateful that I have electricity. In fact, I had a power outage today, most of the day. It's just come back on, and I thought, isn't that interesting? Like when we don't have something, then we're aware of how much we enjoy it. And the fact that we have the option to have those things and pay for them, even though they're almost mundane and we just accept them as a part of our life. Many don't have that. So really start to notice how you think around money when you go to pay for a meal. You know, I love buying, not all the time, but when I see something that is, it might be a designer handbag. I don't have a whole cupboard full of handbags, but I have one particular one that I saw in a shop and I loved it, and I still love it. And when I bought it, yes, it was more expensive than the run-of-the-mill handbag, but when I bought it, I was thinking about the designer that designed it. It was a piece of art for them, and they put their heart and soul into the design of it. And yes, it's on sale for more than the mass-produced, and that meant more to me. And as I was handing over the money for the exchange, I was really feeling good about the fact that I'm supporting someone who is expressing what's in them. That's how I saw it. And it still feels that way when I just love the handbag they created. And so that leads us to the next area is, how do I feel about money? So the way we think is different to the feeling. You know, think of the emotions you feel about and around money. When you see someone who is clearly wealthy in their belongings and the way they live, how does that make you feel? How do you feel? How did I feel when I went to buy the handbag? Initially, that would have been a shop I never would have walked into. Why? Because I had a belief around money. What's sensible? What's waste? What's, luxurious? What's okay and what's not okay to spend my money on? I see money and the exchange of money as an investment always. If I'm buying great food, that's an investment in my health. It's an investment in my well-being, to go out with friends and eat in a beautiful place. Think about what exchange you're making with your money and what you're investing in. And do I take the actions with my money as someone who understands? And that's what's changed for me. And that's what I wanted to share today, is that when that changes for us, when we start to understand what's actually going on with money, everything changes. So I began to understand that this is an energy. Everything's energy. Money is just paper or a number on a screen. But what's the energy I bring to it? And I bring that by the way that I think. Or am I living my life? You might be really aware of spiritual law and law of attraction, and you say that you're a very spiritual person, but when it comes to money, you don't spend money and you hold it back. What's the message we're sending in our thinking and in our energy when we won't spend money? My mentor, Bob Proctor, was big on this topic because he'd come from no money. And he really impacted me because I had come from no money. And I thought, how do I change that? It's scary. But it's all down to our thinking. What are you thinking when you spend money, or when you have the opportunity to? Do you think, oh no, I can't use that because there isn't enough. I have to hang on to that. And that's the message you're sending to the universe. I'm living in lack and fear. And so what did we learn earlier in the week? If we live like that, we will be sent more opportunity to live like that. And so with our money, with all that we are, we want to share it freely, circulate it freely in ways that make us feel really good. So just a little example, I guess, to think through. You often hear people say, oh, I have no money. Oh, I can't afford to go there. Oh, I couldn't do that. I can't afford that. That's a thinking. And it's gotten to the point where they're expressing it with their words. And the feeling, if you were to talk to them, they feel insecure. They feel, oh, no, I can't do that. I have to hang on to every little bit that I've got. And they act in such a way as to shut down and withdraw and, block and secure themselves. Now, they might feel safe and secure. Nothing's going out, but nothing's coming in either. So we want to allow the circulation, just that old saying that to give it, I have to open my hand, and that will enable me to receive. I like the analogy of, I've got grandchildren, and you put biscuits into a jar, cookies for those of you in Canada, and they put their hand in to get a handful, and they try to pull their hand out, and they can't, because they're hanging on to all that they can hold on to. And I remember one of my little grandsons, and he was going bananas. He was like, I can't get the hand, I can't get the biscuits. And he was losing his mind over this. And I was like gently helping him get his hand out. He had to let go of the biscuits. And then I poured them out onto the bench, and he was just like, and that's what we want to do, is when you feel yourself that whole, and it's a physical feeling. It's like the fear. I'll never forget how I felt the day I signed up to work with my beautiful mentor, Bob Proctor. I really wanted to. The money, though, and it took my breath away. And I didn't think I didn't stop to think. I just acted because I really wanted it. And I'm so grateful. My goodness, I couldn't tell you how much I gained because I was following the feeling in my heart. Don't worry about your money. It'll come. It'll come from places you can't even imagine. So be aware of what you're thinking, how that thinking is making you feel, and how you're acting. You know, we tell ourselves stories. Oh, no, I don't really want to go overseas right now. You know, I've got this and this. If you knew that you had an endless stream of money, what would you be doing? What would you decide to buy and to experience in exchange for money? Now, the thing to notice here is it's not to be an isolated act where you think, okay, yeah, I can get myself into a state of, yep, I have faith that I have all the money I need. I'm going to make this decision and do it. And then straight away, we're back into that, oh, I'm so scared. It's a practice. If it's only now and again, then it's not our base, you know, natural or nurtured, you know, way. If we lived our life in complete freedom, like again, I look at my grandkids and they don't ever worry what's for dinner, no, how are we going to pay the mortgage this week? And I understand that they're not aware of that. But the freedom they live in, they don't wake up and think, goodness, is there food in the fridge? They're just so free, and they're good to be around, aren't they? Because their energy is just beautiful. They're not all tied up in this lack and limitations thinking. Now, if we only felt insecure now and again, like just a little spike here and there where we thought, oh, that feels a bit insecure, but on the whole, we were much more open and assured of our wealth, it would be a different story. You know, it's not what we think now and again or how we feel now and again. It's the consistency of it that impacts our results, that impacts our attraction. You know, we are always attracting. You don't decide to use the law of attraction. It's always working, and it's always working the same way. My thinking starts the ball rolling for my state of being. And when I can think thoughts along the lines of what I want and the outcomes that I'm dreaming of, that will change my state and begin attracting to me the components of that outcome. So when we think about money, is my awareness that wealth is abundant? And like I said the other day, you don't have to look too far in nature to see there is just an abundance of sand, of sea, of, you know, space in the sky, of trees, leaves, grass, so much abundance. We want to be aware of that. If I haven't decided to set my tone in regards to wealth and money and abundance, then it's highly likely that I've chosen by ignorance. And that means I haven't even thought about what my tone is, and it's been set by somebody else, normally our forefathers and our parents and those circumstances we grew up in. And that's not anyone's fault. That's just how it is. But I get the opportunity to change that to suit the desires of my heart. So if I haven't prescribed it myself, then I need to go and check, what is it? And you don't have to look too far. The results you're getting in your life will show you what your set tone is. Have you ever heard yourself say, I can't afford it? Probably most of us would say yes. It's the biggest lie ever. Now, it might be that at this very minute, you can't see what you need to have what you say you want, but that doesn't mean you can't afford it. As we've talked about a lot this week, the desire of your heart is indicative of the power that you have to achieve that. Now, where will it come from? You don't know, and you don't need to know. You just need to know it will. As you walk towards it, we activate it by thinking about it, focusing on it, and walking towards it. That lie of I haven't got enough, I'm not enough, that kept me back for so long. Interesting though, It didn't keep my children back. It didn't keep my husband back. I took steps and made decisions and walked out onto what I felt was like a narrow ledge for my family. But when it came to me and what I wanted, that was a different story. So I want you to check in with you. Your belief might be good, might be in place for those that you love, but where is it for you? When you notice a desire of your heart, can I believe for that abundance in my life? Because what's interesting is, just like when you step out for others and make it happen, you can do that for you too. As soon as you decide, yeah, actually, I'm registering that desire, I'm going to walk in this direction, I've decided to do this, to have that, everything you need will show up. And I don't mean in a forceful way, I mean in a decided way. You recognize, you discover that desire, and then you build it into that beautiful, movie picture, roaring flame of desire, and then you notice what you're noticing. Okay, let it unfold. I always say to myself, when you come up against that fear and that I haven't got, it's always good to step back and say, what if I could? Just soften the lack by saying, what if I could? What would that look like? How would that feel? And there we are down the track of writing the story, prescribing what you'd prefer and getting emotionally involved in it. What would that look like? What would it feel like? How would I feel? I've got some really big financial goals. And when I think about the achievement of them, not how I'm going to achieve them, but achieving them, how does that feel? There's nothing better. It's a beautiful thing to do as you go to sleep at night, thinking about that. So we decide and then we act. I'm always given all that I require. That is a truth, a spiritual truth. Ask yourself, do I believe that? And remember, it comes back to what we've talked about all week. What is the desire of your heart? You don't want to be shooting off with just like a mechanical, I want this, from I want it in my mind. You haven't even checked with how that feels. Let your feeling be your guide. When you do that, you can be assured that you're on the right track. It's interesting when you say, yeah, I believe that. I believe I'll have everything I need. You don't believe it until you take the first step forward. Then you'll know what you really believe at a subconscious level. So I'm not accusing you here. I'm just saying it shows up for us when we take that step. Action demonstrates what we believe. And I always ask myself, what would I do if I actually knew everything I needed would come at exactly the right time? What would I do? That's a very good question. What would I be acting into today? I want to talk a little bit about Joseph Murphy just to finish off. He wrote the book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind, Dr. Joseph Murphy, great book. He said, wealth is ultimately nothing more than a subconscious conviction. I like that. Wealth is nothing more than a subconscious conviction. That's a strong word, conviction. If you're convinced of something, convicted of something, it's like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I am this. And it's subconscious. So we can think it all we like, but it needs to be planted in our subconscious, which is where the repetition comes in. So again, we were studying persistence with the community last week, knowing that persistence is blocking our mind, not looking at the circumstances that say otherwise, and surrounding ourselves with people that will encourage us in our desire and the achievement of it. So be convicted of your wealth. He says, I will not become a millionaire by saying I am a millionaire. Now that's interesting. I am a millionaire is an affirmation. I am a millionaire. But that is not alone what is going to produce us as a millionaire. I will grow into a wealth consciousness by building into my mentality the idea of wealth and abundance. So I can say the words mechanically, I am a millionaire, and I have no ideas in my mind of what that looks like for me. No ideas, just empty words, no feeling. That will not produce me to be a millionaire. I must gather the ideas, populate my mind with those, and paint the pictures. Visualize myself being abundant, a millionaire, whatever it is for you that is your picture of wealth. Because I attract based on what I believe, and that's subconscious. Like you said, it's a subconscious conviction, not just empty words, a subconscious conviction, which is belief at a deep level. And you can feel that. You know, when I started this work, I could write lots of things and I could say lots of things, but the fear in me was enormous. I could feel the disconnect. I was thinking this and feeling that. That's why it never materialized. But when I had an idea built around what I wanted, and I began to feel like, yes, I'm feeling what that's like, then I moved forward as a, you know, in integrity, thoughts and feelings. That's very powerful. Still scary. I still stepped out not seeing what was there, but I knew I felt it. It was in alignment. So the feeling of wealth produces wealth. The feeling of wealth produces wealth. It's like compound interest. If you can feel wealthy, how are you going to feel wealthy if you don't have wealth? Well, you're going to imagine it. You know, how can I feel sad watching a movie about someone's loss when I haven't had the loss? I'm imagining, I'm getting involved in that picture emotionally, and I feel it in that moment. The feeling of wealth produces wealth. Even the words, you know, if I say I am wealthy and I'm really broke, then that's a disconnect because I know I'm broke, but I'm saying I'm wealthy. So unless I've built the ideas in my mind of what the wealth looks like, the better place to start is wealth. That word wealth, success, joy, those standalone words, which are the little nuggets of the picture. I'm not saying I am those, and so there's no resistance in my mind to say those words. Success, joy, wealth, whatever words come up for you that would be components of your picture, without saying that you are that, just say those words. And they have an energy, just like, you know, words that we don't want have an energy. If you were to say them a lot, you'd feel yourself moving into the energy of them. So continue to convince your subconscious that wealth is yours. Now, we can do that with confidence because the life in us, remember what life is? It's expansion, it's freedom, it's expression and joy. That's what life in you is. So you are all of those things. So we can confidently convince our subconscious that we are that. We're just rewriting what was placed there when we were very unaware. Okay, and that tape's been running a long time. Wealth is always circulating, so we can get in touch with that. You will have it in many forms. It's not just money. And I'd encourage you to open your doors wide to all the wealth you can imagine and beyond. Wealth comes in many ways. You go to buy something and they're having a sale. There you go. Money saved is money gained. You know, you find some money in an old handbag that you'd forgotten about. There's some more wealth. Start recognizing the wealth that you're living in. And recognizing it is a very important part. Recognize it, celebrate it, feel good about it. Universal intelligence will take care of how your wealth arrives. We don't need to mastermind that. We just need to align with that in our thought, in our ideas, build that idea of wealth and align with it in our feeling tone. And you're getting into the state of the wealth in your life.